Welcome to the Sisterhood Effect, where friendship, empowerment, and connection come to life. I'm Danica.
And I'm Cynthia, and we're two friends on a mission to inspire women everywhere to find their way, embrace their power, and build meaningful circles of support.
This podcast is about celebrating the strength of women individually and together. We believe in the magic that happens when women come together, share their stories, and lift each other up.
Whether you're seeking clarity, confidence, or a community, you found a space where you can feel like you're not going through this journey alone.
So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and join us as we explore the beauty of female friendship, the power of vulnerability, and the journey to becoming your most authentic self.
This is the Sisterhood Effect, where women rise together.
Welcome back. In this episode, I'm going behind the scenes of a recent event that I hosted, which was the Galentine's event. And this is specifically for those of you who are wanting to host events. So if you're one of those people who is wanting to create your own women's circle, maybe you look back at one of our recent episodes where we're talking about putting together your own women's circle. But here we are really breaking out down all of the steps that I've taken in order to, from the idea point of I want to do this event to what I needed to do in order to make it happen. So I hope you enjoy it. And here I'll lead you off to where I start talking about this Galentine's event. Enjoy.
The Galentine's event was such a random, like one-off thing, which I now figured out that like I want to do this so much more often because I went to a girls' night like back in December and they had like little stations full of different self-care stuff and they had more like different things. They also had like hair tinsels and like ear seeds and jewelry applications and things like that. But I liked the idea of being able to sample things. And my favorite parts of that girls' night was doing the foot scrubs and the scalp massages. And I was like, damn, like I could just go and do that over and over and over again. So I thought to myself, I'm like, if I were to do an event like this, like I make it super chill because one thing about the event that I went to, the music was really loud. So I was like it was a vibe for what it was, but I'm like, if I were to do something like that, like I would love to just pamper people and I want to experience that type of event myself. So creating this event came from a place of like I wanted to create an event that was full of self-care and full of mm, just like pampering and relaxation. I had the idea, and then I was like having lunch with one of my friends, Melanie, and telling her about my idea. And she's like, well, girl, like Valentine's Day is coming up in like 2 months because this was back at the end of December. Like, why don't you do it on Valentine's Day for Galentine's? I'm like, well, okay, perfect. So creating this event was reaching out to certain people who I felt like had a great vibe and bringing these people together. So, making sure that there was going to be snacks and that there was going to be like different stations, things like that, that people could really enjoy and really just creating a vibe, like really setting the vibe. And I thought to myself after the event, like, I feel like anybody could throw something like that. But then
Mhm.
I thought again and I was like, thinking of myself just a few years ago, I don't
Mhm.
think I actually could have thrown something like that. Like it felt easy for me because I have these connections that I've built over time and also like I I have an ease now with like selling and marketing things that I didn't in the past. But I think that it is quite possible to be able to do this if you are someone who wants to like bring people together and you just have an idea. Like you just have to be able to put in the effort and think about all of those little things and details that make an event really supportive. Because I think to
Mhm.
myself, like, how can I have these women come in and not have to lift a finger? So, like, from the moment that you walk in, like somebody is
Mhm.
like taking your coat and like you're taking off your shoes and then somebody's like, oh, what kind of tea would you like? And then they're handed a
Mhm.
tea and then
Ah,
it's like, okay, you're going right here, right in here, all right, go and hang out. And there was like cards and there was books and like there was just like, yeah, I feel like the idea was really for these women to just be supported and relaxing. And I think that that was what happened. It was just so good for like having put that in such short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I love that so much. I wish I could have been there,
Mhm.
but I don't live in Canada. Sad.
No. Yeah.
But could you go over like maybe some of the planning parts of it that, were kind of challenging and
Mhm.
in putting together something like this so like our listeners can know like if they're thinking about doing something like this, they could be prepared.
Yeah. I think part of the planning is in just making sure that you're organized. For me, I love spreadsheets. So the first one of the first things I did, so if I go step by step of like the steps that I took in order to make this happen, I first like brainstormed on who I wanted at my event. Like what were the services that I wanted to be provided. So I knew I wanted someone on the hands, someone on the feet, someone on the neck. And so that was my ideal at first. And then I went into researching in my bank of like, who do I know that already offers this and that has a great vibe? So
Mhm.
I already had ideas of the names that I wanted to reach out to. Um, and the first thing that I did was reach out to these practitioners because I needed to know how much they all charged for their services. So once I got the yes, okay, I'm available and this is how much I need to be able to do this event. Actually, no, first thing I did was reach out to the movie space because that was where I was hosting the event. So I made sure that that date was available and that time was available as well.
Mhm.
And I also did a little bit of research, whereas I talked to some friends who, like I was kind of planting seeds. Hey, this is an idea I have. Like when I was
Mhm.
at lunch with Melanie and she was already saying like, I'm down. And I asked her
Mhm.
like, how much would you pay for this? And she's
Mhm.
like, well, probably like under 100, but like between like 70 and 100 or whatnot.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I had an idea of like the price range that felt appropriate for the idea that I had.
Yeah.
And then I also asked, like, because initially I had thought to myself, well, I'll do it at night, like 7 to 9 p.m. Thank fuck that I didn't do it at night, honestly, because I only got out of there at 7 when
Oh
the
my
the
God.
event finished at 5. So I can only imagine if I would have finished at 9, I would have been out of there around midnight. So, and it would have been just very tiring. So
Mhm.
just getting feedback from people who would be potentially wanting to go was super helpful. So that was
Mhm.
number one. Number two, then I knew it was going to be from 2 to 5, a 3 hour range, because I'm like, we need 3 hours. 2 hours isn't enough. 3 hours gets the opportunity to for everybody to be able to receive. I booked Movi and they had a price, right? So now I had the price. I put that in the spreadsheet, reached out to all of the practitioners that I wanted. Once those were confirmed, I already knew how much each person wanted to be paid. And then I had to do math. So it's just basically like how many people can we accommodate for that many service providers? So I had 6 service providers, and I figured out that for 3 hours, there's 160 minutes, 180, 160, whatever, some sort of one of those 2 minutes. So I divided that by 10 with the idea that each service would be 10 minutes each. So how many people could one practitioner see during that time? And that ended up being, if everybody was 10 minutes and there was no space in between, we could do 18. So
Mhm.
I needed to then figure out like, okay, if I have 18 people there, then it's going to be really, really tight. Um,
Mhm.
and I would like someone or multiple people to come and help me out to put on to like help me set up the event and tear down the event. And so I reached out to some of my best girlfriends who wanted to exchange a ticket for helping me out. And so I had two of my best friends, Dom and Gina, come in early and leave later on so that I didn't have to do everything on my own because I had to be there at 12:45. The event started at 2, so I only had like an hour and 15 minutes to set everything up, but I have a shit ton of shit to bring, right? So like having energy exchangers is the best thing. So that already takes out a few tickets. And then I had a ticket that I wanted to gift someone. So now by the end of it, I think I only had to sell 13 or 14 tickets to then have 17 people in total that would be receiving. So I took it down from 18 to 17 to just give a little bit of space. Um, After that, I figured out that like with how much each practitioner was getting paid, and then you're also looking at like how much are you going to pay for snacks, which I also got an energy exchanger for that. So Vibrant Life Meals is a meal service that's over here that is run by one of my best friends, Ben. And so she was able to get a free ticket for bringing snacks as well. And
Mm,
so that was like doing those types of exchanges is super helpful for these types
I
of
love that.
events, right? And then I went out and I wanted to bring as much value as I could. So I reached out to different businesses to see if they would support me in gifting prizes or gifting in the gift bag. So that way, you will never receive if you don't ask. I
Mm,
went to the mall and I went to Lululemon and I asked them, "Hey, would you be willing to gift a like a gift bag or something?" So they gave me a Lululemon yoga mat and a yoga strap
wow.
for a gift prize. Sage, the essential oil company, gifted everyone an essential oil roller in their gift bag that they were receiving like at the end.
Wow.
And they also were there at the event. And they also created like this gift prize as well. So I would not have gotten that if I didn't just walk into Sage and be like, "Hey, would
Wow.
you be willing to like give this to me?" And like that was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable that day when I went to the mall and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, am I just gonna like walk in there and ask for them to give me shit?" And like it's like, what is the worst that could happen? Literally nothing.
Mm.
Like that they say no.
That is so, oh my God, I love that so much. Oh my God. And they just gave it to you? Like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. And like the girl at Sage was the best. Like, shout out Haley. Like, fucking adore this girl. She is so sweet.
yeah.
Like, she was excited from the moment I met her. I'm like, "Are
Oh,
you the manager by any chance?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "So I'm doing this event." She's like, We're there. Amazing. Cool. How many people? Awesome. I'll email you. Da, 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 whatever." So, like, amazing connections there.
wow.
Um, then I also went to David's Tea and did the same to see if they would donate some tea. They donated some tea.
Wow. Oh my
So,
God. Did you like, did you like go in the store and then ask for the manager and then just talk to the manager about it? Okay.
and it
Wow.
just so happened that like for David's Tea and for Sage, the person that I was addressing was the manager. So I was like,
Oh.
"You're the manager by chance?" And then they're like, "Yes." So I'm like, "Perfect, amazing."
Oh.
And I think that's better
Wow.
than saying like, "Hey, can I speak to your manager?" Because they're like,
Yeah.
I'm the manager." You know what I mean? Like, so like you gotta assume that they are the manager, and if they're
Yeah.
not, like they're already like, "Oh, thanks for assuming that I'm the manager, but I
Yeah.
still get it for you, whatever." So, uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, and then for Lululemon, they have like a special person that's there for those things. So they're like, "Oh, let me bring
Wow.
her in." Um,
That
yeah.
is so cool. I
So
love it so much. Oh my God.
So now I already knew that I was gonna have some prizes. I already knew the practitioners that were going. I already knew how many people I needed at the event. And I needed to figure out also how much I wanted to get paid for it as well. Because
Mhm.
like I am setting this up and I know
Yeah.
that it's easy to just be like, "Oh, I just want to do this for the good of the people, no, 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 whatever." But like also you are putting your energy and time into this, and you are like, if you are creating an event like that, you do also deserve to be paid for it.
Yeah.
So like I knew that I wanted to get paid for it. And I mean like that's just like I teach yoga. for work. So it was like, okay, trying to budget myself into that as well. Um, and other things that I bought, I did a lot of buying like last minute. I bought like some decorations, things like that. I also asked a lot of my friends who were helping me, like Dom and Gina and Ven, like, hey, if you have anything that can bring a vibe, bring it. And I also made sure to check in with all of the practitioners, making sure that everyone had everything that they needed. So like if you're going to be doing massages, do you have a massage table? Do you have a bench? Do you have da, da, da? Like you don't want to just like assume that they have everything and then they just
Yeah.
show up with nothing. So I just yeah, made sure that everybody had everything that they needed.
Hmm.
And so yeah, the last minute shopping for me was getting like a little bit more snacks because I was afraid that maybe there wasn't enough with the Vibrant Life meals, which like there was. She was amazing. She was fantastic. She had
Mm.
like bliss balls um and wraps, like rainbow wraps and like little oatmeal chocolate
Oh my
chia pudding
gosh, that's
things and like it was
amazing.
incredible. So I just added some chips and some gummies in there, brought some decorations, um, and then I also brought a lot of stuff from my place as well because I had like I wish I could show you. It's just like a fucking mess in here right now because of everything that I brought. But like I brought pillows and blankets and some of my friends had bolsters and more pillows and more blankets and
Mm.
we had I had like a mat that you put on I had a couple mats like
Mm.
black mats that you put like
Mhm.
under yoga mats or something, but they just like take up a
Mhm.
lot of space because I created this little corner that was going to be um just for chilling and whatnot. So I just
Yeah.
didn't want it to be like on the floor. So got those big mats and then I had like a little more cushiony mat as well. Those are all things that I had at home. Um, so thankfully I had those, but you know, you might need to resource from different things and depending also what you want to create because I wanted to make sure that people had places where they could sit and chill.
Yeah.
That was super important to me because the last event that I went to, there was nowhere to sit. Like you were just standing the entire time. And if you're going to relax, like you're also not receiving the entire time. So maybe you want to pick some cards or something like that. And you don't want to just be like sitting on hardware floor or whatnot. So just making it cozy. I brought galaxy lights. I asked my friends if they could bring galaxy lights. So we had a shit ton of galaxy lights. Um, and after I priced out the event, then it was time for the marketing and advertising.
Hmm.
So I created a landing page for it. And landing pages, you don't need to do them, but you can do that either through website or if you have a website, or you could use things like MailChimp, I think is a program that you can use to create landing pages as well.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things. If you just look up online landing pages, I'm sure there's places where you can actually make them for free.
Mm.
But whether or not you can collect money on it, that's a whole nother thing. But you could also just be using Instagram and Facebook for marketing your event.
Hmm.
And if you do that, maybe you're collecting money through e-transfer. So you could do it that way. I have a business, I have a website, whatnot. So I do it on the website. And it was just about making it as clear and as simple as possible. This is what the event is. And I named it the Ultimate Relaxation
Hmm.
Galentines.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking of like, because I want to do it again, the Ultimate Relaxation event is going to be like the
Mm.
name of the event, and then
Mhm.
Galentine's is kind of like the theme of it. If that
Mm.
makes
Oh,
sense.
I love that so
Yeah.
much.
So
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
that yeah, I think that I'm gonna do it again and again. So I had the name and then it was just about like saying like this is what you'll receive from it. You can even check my landing page if you want. And it's still up there, right? It was just about advertising for it, sharing about it on social media, creating an event on Facebook. Those really help because if you create a public event on Facebook, then people can put interested and then people can also share it. So
Hmm.
it works a lot better, I find, than just doing stories on your Instagram. And yes,
Hmm.
also do stories on your Instagram. You
Yeah.
also do posts on your Instagram.
Yeah.
And most people need to see something like
Yeah.
times before they're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll go. Right? Like people need it more and more often, and you need to like not give up on the advertisement of things. That's
Yeah.
like a super important thing. So
Wait,
I
how many times did you say?
14. I think it's 14. I think it used to be
Mm.
7 or something like that, but like people's
Mm.
attention spans are just wild
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
So you gotta just like keep on advertising. You can do it every single day if you want,
Yeah.
like especially on the weekdays. And I thought for some reason that this event was gonna sell out like super, super quick. Um, I had like a few at the very start, and I do email lists first because I have an email list, so I'll share that with them. And then I go social media. But for some reason, I was like, these are gonna sell so quick. But then it was almost like crickets at the start. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do people not want to join this? What?
Mm-hmm.
It ended up selling out. Like it was fine.
Mm.
I wasn't selling tickets this past week. Like it was already sold out, but it was still like, what is happening? And what I think it is that it is a higher price. I ended up pricing it at 99 plus
Mm-hmm.
tax.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that people need a little bit more time sometimes with the higher
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
offer.
sure. Yeah.
It really depends because I've also seen it not be like that, but to not give up. Because I did notice in myself, like, this is an incredible event. Why aren't people just like throwing themselves at it? Um,
Yeah.
and what it needed was just a little bit more time and a little bit
Yeah.
more consistency and talking
Mm-hmm.
about it and sharing what people were going to receive.
I feel like you literally just like gave a course on how to host an event. Oh my God, I
Yeah.
love it. I mean, it's like inspiring me to like want to do the same thing,
Oh,
like in my
yes.
area. Like, and I hope it inspires other people to like want to do it. I mean, it does sound like there's a lot of work that goes into it. Like, it's not super straightforward and simple, but I think that if you have the desire to do it, you can.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah.
That's the thing. It's the are you willing to put in the work and the time and energy to make it all happen? It's almost like creating a puzzle without all the puzzle pieces yet. And the puzzle pieces only come together on the very, very last day when you are
Mhm.
actually like there and setting it
Yeah.
up and whatnot. Um,
Mm.
but anybody really, you could do it as long as you are willing to show up for the marketing of the
Yeah.
event. But you could also just do it for your friends if you wanted to just do it for your
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
kind of everybody you already in that way you would already have all of the tickets
Yeah.
booked because you
Right.
already know who's coming and whatnot.
I just feel like you consistently just impress me with how brave you are and just doing all these things. You just like go for it. Like you just like never done like something before. You're like, okay, like let's just do it. So I just like it inspires me. Like this is why I'm like, I'm so glad that we're doing this podcast together because you constantly inspire me with what you do.
You know, I think a lot of it is my Manny Gen energy and me being a manifesting generator is
Mhm.
this like fire energy of like, oh my gosh, I have all of these ideas and also this generator energy that is like building and that
Mhm.
is capable of building something
Mhm.
once I'm lit up about it. And this is something that I was so lit up about. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like relaxation,
Mhm.
massages, foot rubs, foot scrubs, yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's like when I'm lit up about something, people can feel it. And then it almost,
Mhm.
it just makes the whole process really, really easy. I want to pause this right here because I just went on a 30-minute tangent about human design as of this point. And I love human design. We're definitely going to be talking about it soon, sooner than later. But for this episode, we wanted to keep these really short, 30 minutes max. So we'll be saving it for next time. For now, if you enjoy this episode, please like, share, comment, do the thing. And just thank you for being here. And I hope that you got some sort of value out of this episode. And we'll see you next time.